The date is June 2nd of 2023, and once again you find yourself around a dark, grim campfire in the world of Sanctuary. The only thing comforting you here is a small fire and the warmth of your fur clothing. You're now part of a world where Malthaels' campaign killed over 90% of Sanctuary's population and left the world in shambles. Heaven's gates are closed, and the angels have completely abandoned humanity. And to make things even worse, Lilith has been summoned to Sanctuary. Like every Nephilim in Sanctuary, you must embark on a journey with one of the 5 class specializations. Your class selection is going to determine a wide variety of aspects on your journey to save the world. Classes are responsible for so much more than just what type of damage you can do. They can influence your defensive capabilities, how you move around the world, and even your character's personality and backstory. Every class comes with its own set of strengths and weaknesses, and it's up to you to decide how to best utilize them. At the end of the day, what's most important is you select a class that you enjoy playing. So make sure that you pick a class that resonates with you and make it your own. The Sorcerers are mysterious mages from distant eastern lands. Sorcerers have developed a greater understanding of spellcasting when compared to the magic of Conduras, which is in the form of enchanted items and elixirs. While you may know only the simplest of spells to start, they rapidly grow in power as they discover new incantations. The Sorcerer is described as a high-risk, high-reward style of hero, harnessing potent elemental magic but being fragile as well. Their spells are designed around fire, cold, and lightning ability. The Sorcerer shapes the elements into whatever form is necessary to ensure victory, from hurling bolts of lightning, impaling their foes with jagged spikes of ice, and raining flaming meteors down from the sky. They are exceptionally good at fighting from a distance and can adapt to almost any situation using different elements. The Sorcerer's spells have passive effects attached to them as well. Chills work in a distinct way for the Sorcerer, where upon reaching 100%, the enemy will be frozen for the remaining duration. Fire spells often place the burning effect on enemies, dealing damage over time. And as a Sorcerer, intelligence increases your skill damage immensely. Starting off with the Sorcerer's unique skill trees, you have conjuration spells where you can summon a flame hydra to deal damage to nearby enemies, lightning spears to travel between enemies and damage them, as well as a frost sword to damage enemies completely on its own. You have very powerful defensive magical abilities like teleportation, flame shield, fire shield, and frost nova, as well as mastery skills which are massive area of effect spells like blizzard, meteor, firewall, and ball of lightning. The Sorcerer is fun to play and embodies the raw elemental magic you come to expect from the class. Mana is their primary resource. It is easy to deplete, so strategic use of the skills to make sure you get the most magical bang for your resource is very critical. If you love massive AoE damage, super flashy abilities with a high skill cap class, there's no doubt the Sorcerer can easily be your main. The Barbarians, dwelling in the shadow of Mount Ariad, were immense in size and unmatched in ferocity. They were charged from birth with a duty passed through generations to protect the sacred mountain and the world stone within. When their homeland was shattered and the world stone destroyed, many barbarians lost faith, becoming aimless, haunted by their past, traveling from place to place with no honor or direction. The Barbarian is a brutal physical warrior and roams the battlefield, constantly dishing out heavy damage and wielding an array of powerful weapons with ease. Barbarians will be able to haul around 4 total weapons and swap between them dynamically at any time. Most Barbarian skills will only deal physical damage, but the Barbarian has 2 distinct specializations. The Warlord focusing on more defense, party bonuses, and tactical damage, while the Berserker focuses on reckless offense and maximum damage output. The Barbarian's unique skill trees are the Brawling skills, which comes from the Barbarian's pure raw strength, with kick, leap, charge, and using different shouts to give the allies more damage nearby. You have the Weapon Mastery skills, which heavily involve the weapon the Barbarian is using currently, with Death Blow allowing the ability to reset on kills, Rupture, and Steel Grasp to pull enemies toward you. And lastly, you have defensive skills like Ground Stomp, Challenging Shout, Iron Skin, and Rallying Cry. With 4 weapons equipped at the same time, they have advantages from weapon swaps, extra stats, and additional legendary powers. Barbarians bring incredible utility from their shouts, making them a strong choice for every group. If you love being in the thick of it and dealing insane damage, swinging massive weapons around the battlefield, it's no doubt that this class is going to be your main choice. For rogues, the only code is the contract, and their honor is purchased in gold. Free from the constraints of a conscience, these mercenaries rely on brutal and efficient tactics. Lethal assassins and masters of stealth. They will approach their marks from behind, piercing a vital organ and vanishing into the shadows before the victim even hits the ground. The rogue is an adaptable, agile warrior who can specialize in ranged or close-quarter combat. They can best any foe with their imbued weapons, perform powerful combo attacks, and can augment their arsenal with deadly poisons and shadow magic to slay hordes of demons. Shadow Arts allows them to move freely between enemy lines, and their augmented weapons and combos can deal with all types of enemies. Starting off with the Rogue's unique skill trees, you have the Agility skill tree. These include very mobile abilities like Shadow Step, which has you leap through the shadows to an enemy, Dash, as well as Caltraps to slow enemies down. They also have subterfuge skills to help them survive in combat, like Concealment, which is a combat stealth, Dark Shroud, Smoke Grenade to daze enemies, and Poison Trap to deal massive damage to enemies over time. And lastly, they have their imbuement skills, which you imbue your weapons with special effects like Poison, Shadow, and Cold imbuements that all give a wide variety of effects to take down any foe needed. Rogues are agile fighters based mostly on dealing physical damage with melee and ranged attack. Having access to Cold, Shadow, and Poison effects, as well as having many tools for their build to customize any way your preferred playstyle be. If you love being in and out of combat with a class that has a high skill cap and crazy versatility, the Rogue can definitely be for you. Necromancers are sorcerers whose spells deal with the raising of the dead and the summoning and controlling of various creatures for their purposes. The word necromancer is actually an outsider's term for the priest of Rathma, as per their ability to raise the dead. Necromancy is an ability possessed by the minions of the burning hells, but among mortals, it is only necromancers that possess it. Their knowledge of the unknown allows them to face death without fear. When the necromancer takes the battlefield, everyone is well aware of it. The very ground trembles with the armies of the dead storming the field, and blood and bones dismantling groups of enemies lay in the path before the necromancer. The necromancer's unique skill trees include the bone tree, where you have bone spirits being summoned, trapping enemies in bone prisons, as well as using ginormous bone spikes to rip enemies apart. Then you have the darkness tree, where the necromancer calls upon dark energy to channel the decompose skill upon enemies, as well as blight, which is an explosion of darkness. Lastly, they have the blood tree, which is incredible for survivability, with leeching nearby life from enemies, as well as using spells like blood surge to deal massive AoE damage, and blood mist to make you completely immune to everything. If you have any interest in a pet class at all, it's very obvious that the necromancer is for you. On top of it, they wield dark magic to dwindle and curse their enemies, making them much weaker for your undead allies to crush them beneath their weight. The Druids shun the use of traditional magic, living by the philosophy that exhorts oneness with the natural world. Druids are so tied to the natural world that they can call upon the aid of animals and even plants to help them in battle. Given their shared ancestry with the Barbarians, they possess great physical strength. Druids are willing to do anything to protect their way of life, including risking their own humanity by awakening the beast within. The Master of Shapeshifting makes his triumphant return to Sanctuary, seamlessly changing forms from human to werebear to werewolf. His command over earth and storm magic is second to none. Unlike Diablo 2, Druid has no skills that exist purely to transform in and out of various forms. Instead, each skill can be cast from one form, shifting to it before they cast without any extra action. Once they're shapeshift, the Druid remains in that form for 3 seconds or until a different action forces them to shapeshift again. The 3 forms they have are human, werebear, and werewolf. The Druid's unique skill trees are started with the spirit skills, where the Druid uses Pulverize from the mighty werebear form to slam enemies nearby, Landslide to crush enemies with earth, and Tornado to destroy enemies in their path. After that, you have companion skills, where you can summon wolves, ravens, and plants to come to your aid in battle to always even the odds. And lastly, their defensive skills include Cyclone Armor and Earthen Woolwick to reduce damage they take, as well as werebear abilities like Trample and Debilitating Roar. And lastly, you have Ravenous Bite, where you turn into a werewolf, bite into an enemy, and heal for some of the damage done. If you love a class with huge versatility and incredible class fantasy, there would be no better option than the Druid. Now, picking your class is going to be incredibly important in Diablo 4. Now, obviously, you can have multiple classes, if not all of them at once. If you all want something more in-depth, we go over these classes individually in great detail, so please check these out on the screen. That's going to be all from us today, ladies and gentlemen. Until the very end, my name's Sky from the Comeback Kids. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.